Right, so welcome back from that quick break that we held, and this is the newspaper review here on Pan-African Television. My name is Ivan Bant-Aban. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Kwame Owusu Danso. Right now, today, topics tabled for our conversation is we'll take you straight to Uganda, where yesterday there was a swearing in of Yoweri Museveni, president-elect for Uganda. We'll have an extensive discussion on that, and we'll talk about XFG's condemn on Israeli brutality meted out to Palestinians. We'll discuss that extensively as well. Then we'll come straight to our country, Ghana. Yes, we'll talk about Galamsey and the regional dialogue held in the Ashanti region of Ghana. And lastly, we'll talk about journalist brutalities. Well, we all know about Caleb Kuda, City FM's reporter that was, apprehended by the national security. We'll talk about that extensively as well. Today I've been joined in the studio by Honorable Inusa Fuseni and of course my very own colleague here at Pan-African Television, host of Hot News, Justice Apia, to help me discuss these issues extensively. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable. How are you doing, Honorable?
Well, I'm fine, and today is Eid, so I'm just from prayers. Probably that explains why we are starting this program.
Very true.
Yes, and so let me take opportunity to wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters Eid al-Mubarak, and say that may Allah accept our prayers and ibadah and continue to favor us with his blessings. And also on days like this, we extend our facilitations to our Christian brothers and people of other faiths to say that, to pray for them so that we can peacefully coexist in this country, respect each other, and act with dignity towards one another. So, Eid al-Mubarak to my Muslim colleagues, friends, family, my wife, my children, my brothers and sisters, people of the West Central Constituency, the people of Ghana, and say, as Arabs say, Kullu sana wa antum bi khair.
Right, indeed. Eid al-Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. We wish you the very best in this very, day's celebration. Justice, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ivan.
How's your morning?
Very well.
Today,
very great.
Today, fortunately, you are the other side and I'm here.
Exactly. I mean, when duty calls,
that's true.
You have no other option than to attend to it. So
that's true.
We are here to serve our country.
True. That's true. Right.
Once again, but I also used the opportunity to say happy Eid to all my Muslim brothers and sisters as well.
Great. Right. So let's start off with a conversation with Yoweri Museveni. Let's move straight to Uganda. Now, he's been sworn in for the 6th time as president of Uganda. And I start off with Honorable. Honorable, what's your take on this?
Well, Yoweri Museveni is now an enigma. Bobby Wine, that's Bobby Wine's Uganda.
Yeah, yes.
It's now an enigma. I mean, somebody who came onto the political landscape on the complaint that there was no political space for people for young people. He was then a young man, for young people to take part in shaping the destiny of Uganda. And that Milton Obote, Idi Amin had all constructed the space, not allowing broad-based participation in Uganda. He fought from the bush. He fought a civil war and then got himself entrenched, in power. And 30 years now, he's still in power. I mean, I was listening to somebody who said the system, and the term is about 5 years, I think.
Yes.
And 30 good years. I mean, you cannot even reconcile that with what he stood for when he was a young man. As a young man, he thought that the youth were excluded from political party participation, and so he wanted to create space for the youth to be part of the system, the youth to be the architects of those who will build the country. And now he's an old man. And he's saying that the youth have no experience.
This is a young man who was given the opportunity to become a president.
He's a young man who fought the system. He fought the system and came to power. And now he thinks that no, the young men have no experience.
They have no
he says,
experience.
but one doesn't know how to. What he's saying cannot be taken seriously because he doesn't know anything about governance. You know. So but that is Africa for you. I mean, I think that basically what we all need to be saying probably to all Africa. And I was surprised that African leaders were trooped, including our own president, trooped to Uganda to witness the swearing in of Yoweri Museveni. I mean, it's about time that we call these people out.
Is this the same thinking of all African leaders?
Well, as Africans, somehow we always think that leaders, when they get into power, think that they alone probably have the solutions to the country's problems. It's not so. It cannot be so. Cannot be true. Cannot be true. I mean, when America came together as a country, I mean, no president has ever done more than 3 times. So one president was able to do 3 times. But America is developed. You just need the right combination of private enterprise, leadership, skill nurturing, resources availability, to be able to bring this together to create the necessary prosperity and the levers for development. Leadership alone without harnessing the private sector, creating opportunities, a free society that can allow people to innovate, cannot create prosperity. Cannot. I mean, and we'll come to it, like what is happening in Ghana now.
Yes.
I mean, if you restrict the ability of people to speak freely, I mean, you will not be able to develop. I mean, I remember George Bush, I think senior, yes, saying that Soviet Union was unable to manufacture a computer then. At that time, it was Soviet Union, not Russia. Before Gorbachev came and then they disintegrated. Soviet Union was not able to make a computer because of lack of freedom of expression. Because the whole computer system is somebody's ideas. And so when you limit the expression, the right to freely express one's views, those views cannot be manifested in the manufacture of a computer. Because people are free to think. And they must have property. They must, when they are able to manufacture things, when they are able to conceive, when they are able to develop matters, they must be able to have proprietary interest and right in those things. But if you constrict them, there's no incentive. You kill any incentive of people to invent, to innovate. And so, coming back to Uganda, I just hope that this is the last time of Yoweri Museveni, unless of course he wants to die on the throne. Because it's not a chair, I call it throne because it's not an emperor. So unless he wants to die on it. Other than that, I think that he should give opportunity. He should create the necessary political space. Many people have got brilliant ideas on how Uganda ought to develop. And if you limit opportunities available to them, if you limit the political space, you will be repeating mistakes. And repeating mistakes has never been considered as experience. And so, give opportunity. Let people to come and contribute to the development of the country. Nations all over the world have developed that way. Everybody builds slowly, incrementally, on what his predecessors have done. One person has not ever been credited with building a country. And so, but all in all, African countries must be learning from what is happening in Uganda. That if you create a personality court, that's what happens. He stays in power for a very long time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Right. So I'll come to justice. Justice. I mean, 6th term in power. Yoweri Museveni. What's your take on that?
This is quite
Honorable describes him
worrying.
as an enigma.
Yes, exactly so. And this is very, very worrying because Museveni took over the reins of power in Uganda in 1986 as a rebel leader.
Right.
You know, and ever since he's been in power, and as Honorable rightly said, for about 30 years, he still wants to reign there, you know, or rule the country. Unfortunately, he should know that he's not a sole repository of knowledge. He is not the only human being in Uganda. In fact, Ugandans, as up to the elections, the recent elections, that, you know, though the elections has been contested by, his opponent, you know, who actually thinks that the courts in Uganda are not in his favor, but in the favor of Museveni. So he withdrew the case. I mean, actually. Now, my view is that African leaders sometimes would want to be in power till they are called by God. And it's quite unfortunate. Yoweri is 76 years. And one would have thought that after being in power for 30 years, he would have left it for another person to also take over. There are a lot of young men with brains. There are a lot of people with new ideas who can probably bring something on board to make sure that Uganda is well built and all of that. If you go to Uganda today, after 30 years in power, what specifically has he been able to do? Are the lives of the people better? The Ugandan people, are they living well? What is the Ugandan economy? How is it like? After 30 years, if Ugandans cannot boast of, you know, a robust economy, if they cannot boast of, you know, a better conditions of living, and you still want to be in power, what would you want to hold on to power for? When in actual fact, there are a lot more, you know, young men who could have been given the opportunity to change the fortunes of their country. It is quite unfortunate for me that a 76-year-old man would want to be in power for another 5 years. Add 5 to 76. And by the time they will go for another election, he will be 81 years. I doubt if at the time he's able to walk. You see, and you cannot talk about this without talking about how greedy some African leaders are. Because this could only stand out of
greed. Is it always about the greed of African leaders, or is it also about the fact that when we go into such elections, given the nature of Yoweri Museveni and of course his age and how long he's been in power, is it not also about the case that we have a larger section of, you know, persons within his jurisdiction who will go into an election and vote for him regardless? Well,
you know that Ghana is not excluded.
Yeah.
Because we went to the Supreme Court. Yeah. A political party thought that the just ended election was actually rigged.
Right.
The same thing happened in Uganda, where Bobby Wine took the issue to court. He challenged the elections. He withdrew because, to him, the courts in Uganda are in favor of Yoweri. You understand? And it's not a matter of people voting for whoever. It's an issue of African leaders who would want to hold on, you know, to power, twisting the hands of people and then changing election results and all of that. You think that if Bobby Wine understood that he lost, he would have petitioned the court? You think that if there were no anomalies, you know, malpractices in the elections, he would have said that he was going to court? What for? You understand? So, and you cannot run away from the fact that some leaders, no matter what, would want to compromise the system to make sure that the system, you know, goes in their favor. And Uganda is of no exception. If you ask me, I believe that the Ugandan people, or there are a lot of Ugandan people who wouldn't want Yoweri to continue being in power. But because of his, you know, greed or greediness, because of his desire, you know, his taste for power, to continue to be in power, it's possible that, you know, the will of the people were, you know, were changed.
Or compromised.
You understand? So for me, I think that this issue of African leaders always wanting to be... Look at our president, President Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was at the inauguration. What's his age? You understand? And we can talk of several African leaders at that age and more who are still in power and will still want to continue. Some are even changing their constitutions to favor them, to be able to contest for, elections again and all of that. How best would you describe this if this is not great, Ivan? So for me, it's right about time we push these people out and give opportunities to other young ones who have, fresh ideas, who are very intelligent and can change the fortunes of Africa.
Right. Now, Honorable, before I even move to the next topic for our conversation, let me pose this question to you. Now, I mean, we've all discussed the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, set time in power, almost 30 years in government, and of course, the Ugandans cannot boast of a robust economy, like Justice intimated. The living conditions of the people are extremely poor, unemployment here and there. How do we move from where we are now, I mean, largely as Africans? And this, like Justice said, it is not just in Uganda, it's very much pervasive in most of the African countries. How do we move from this very setting to a point where we can begin to boast of, robust economy and good employment opportunities and all that?
Well, it's pervasive in Africa, and particularly North Africa, and some parts of East Africa.
Yes.
But in West Africa, ECOWAS has done a wonderful job. You can engage in a coup d'etat in West Africa. Your government will not be recognized.
Yeah.
And you just saw what happened in Mali.
Yes.
Recently. I mean, they have metamorphosized their government from a military dictatorship, military government to a quasi-military government, where a prime minister is a civilian.
Yeah.
And they have agreed on holding elections.
Yes.
West Africa, ECOWAS has set the criteria very clearly that you can't do that. I mean, the power belongs to the people, and they must ultimately determine who leads them. I mean, you can't force your authority on the people. That is what should permeate or attend to other governments and people across Africa, so that we don't have Kenya is always also doing that. I mean, Tanzania, look at what happened. They are having their first female president.
Yeah.
Look at the transition. Even though there were a few hitches when Magufuli died, it took 24 hours. Normally it should not take 24 hours.
Yes.
But finally, Salihu is there. Is the president now. And so clearly, Uganda is an outlier. Somalia is a failed state. Djibouti, I mean, so we must continue at the AU to push for governments to look at what is happening in even our backyard here. Togo.
Yes.
Yadima and his family have ruled Togo for more than 50 years. One family. More than 50 years. I mean, if this is not the dictatorship, tell me what that is. I mean, so it's not becoming, so that even though they are holding periodic elections have always been manipulated to, when the Yadima Senior died, the Speaker of Parliament was supposed to be sworn in as the president. Somehow he was swerved, and they gave it to the son, and so I don't understand. I mean, I don't know why people think that they alone have the panacea to the country's problems. So it is left to African Union. I mean, if you want to belong to the elite club of Democrats within the African Union, then you must abide by the constitutional framework that you yourself signed into law. You yourself signed the Constitution. He has had it changed several times. And so, I mean, it doesn't work that way.
Well, that's what we say. It doesn't work that way. So we'll move on to our next topic for conversation. And Palestinians are in the news again. And there's a report from the Socialist Forum of Ghana, and it says SFG condemns Israeli brutalities and the seizure of Palestinian lands, which has to do with the occupation in Israel as it stands now. And I don't know, Honorable, let me start with you on this very topic and what your take is on this very matter with regards to I mean, Israelis, meting out brutalities to Palestinians.
What is happening in Palestine, or between Palestine and Israel, between the Palestinians and the Israelis, is a deeply worrying thing.
Worrying situation.
It has got its remote causes in the intention of Benjamin Netanyahu's government to seize land and extend the buildings on the land, remove the Palestinians from the land, and annex the land for the purposes of development.
Yeah.
Contrary to the UN resolutions, I think 1460. I mean, 14 to the 4, something like that. I mean, I've forgotten the resolution number, which says that the Israel exists within a defined territorial boundaries. Israel has been expanding the territorial space of Israel. And then they believe that Israel, I mean, where they are going to is their historic homeland, and so they must be able to go there. You know, until 1945 or thereabouts, there was no Israel. The Israelis were distributed, were everywhere. Okay, and so after 1945 and the experiences of the Holocaust, which got Germany, Adolf Hitler, sending a majority of them to the gas chambers, the Israelis thought that they should, or the world, through instrumentality and demand of the Israelis, thought that they should be resettled in their, I mean, at a place. So Israel must have a country. After many decisions, initially even they thought that they should settle them in Africa. But finally, Britain and other countries decided that they should go back to their historic lands. And that meant that Palestinians who were now occupying the lands were going to be deprived of their land. And so that's in Palestine, that day that Israel was established within the Palestinian state, is called Yom al-Nakda. Yom al-Nakda, the day of the protest.
The day of the protest.
Yes, okay. Now, and since the settlement of Israel in Palestine, there have been war. Always. I mean, you remember the Intifada, where the Palestinians took to throwing of stones against the Israelis and all those things. Now, attempts have been made by Israel, I mean by the international community, to have a solution to the intractable problem between the Palestinians and the Israelis. The famous one was the Oslo Agreement that came to the firm conclusion that there must be a two-state solution to the problem. Two-state solution simply means that Israel must exist, Palestine must exist. The Palestinians' position was that Israelis were occupiers. They had no land. They had come to take their land. Now, the negotiators came to a conclusion that the fact that Israel had been established in Palestine, and now there's an Israeli state in the Middle East, that fact can no longer be erased. So Palestinians and Arabs must be prepared to live with the Israelis as neighbors within the same Middle East. So that's the two-state solution. Well, and then Israel was told that it should cease on its annexation of lands. So, you know, when they settled, it was a small place, so Israel is expanding. Now, so I told you the remote cause is another attempt by Benjamin Netanyahu to deprive the Palestinians of some land, which land was in court. The Palestinians did not take kindly to that. The Supreme Court in Israel was to rule whether or not the annexation was legal, the taking of the lands was legal. The Palestinians have no faith in the Supreme Court. So, in this month of Ramadan, on the 27th day of Ramadan, it's an important day in the Islamic calendar. We call that day, many scholars have come to agree that day represents the most likely day that Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, can occur. Okay, the night of power.
The night of power.
That is better than 1,000 nights can occur. And so they went, and Aqsa, the Aqsa Mosque is the third holiest site of Muslims. The Aqsa Mosque area is also a holy site in Judaism. So to the Jews, Aqsa too is very holy. Now, so both Christians, both Jews and Muslims worship at Aqsa. Okay, so what precipitated this conflict was the Muslims had gathered at Aqsa to say we call it tahajjud, the long prayers in the night, the qiyamul layl. I mean, they pray throughout the night.
Throughout the night.
Now, and then after they finished prayers, the sermons were given, and then they started rioting. They started protesting. Now, mind you, because they were trooping to Aqsa, the Israelis were put on notice, and so they were also there. Then they started hurling stones and all those things. Hamas took up the fight. Israel started shooting, and then, as I speak to you, 67 Palestinians and 7 Israelis have lost their lives. Of the 67, a majority or near majority of the 67 Palestinians were children and women who were killed. I believe that the United States of America, which country has a controlling leverage on Israel, must intervene to get Israel to cease the atrocities or the conflict. And then Egypt, that also has a controlling effect on Hamas, must be invited. Somehow, Egypt is an ally of the United States of America. So this should not be something which should be difficult for them to do. The allies must come together and tell their proxies to stop the fight, because it's not going well. Distracting, and for Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel is attracting a lot of bad publicity.
Very.
I believe that it's about time that they go back and look at the two-way solution and compel Israel to stop the annexation, because it is the annexation that is fueling this conflict.
This brouhaha.
And then if they stop, and then because 20% of Israelis are Arabs, so we have Arab Israelis who constitute 20% of the Israeli population. Now, because of the conflict between Palestine and Israel, Israeli Arabs are now being attacked.
Wow.
In Israel, they are not being attacked, so they are not safe. You know, so the civil war could have serious ramifications if it is not ended, because it could even attack the integrity of the nation Israel. Because you know, there's a party that is represented in the Knesset, which is an Arab party. So yes, the Arabs are in Israel, but what is happening now could expose all of them to danger, and then let international community then begin looking at bringing back the issue, the Palestinian question, on the front burner, and see how in this 22nd century a solution can be found to the conflict.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Nisafuni Fuseni, for your submission. Justice, let me hear from you. Seizure of lands by Israelis.
Honorable has said it all, and I don't have much to say on that. But I feel that the statement issued by the Socialist Forum of Ghana in solidarity with the Palestinian people is a right one, is a good cause, and we all support it. Unfortunately, this issue has been going on
and on
for quite some time now. It's not quite. It's been going on for a very long time now, and it looks as if we are not finding any amicable, way of solving the problem. And it looks like, you know, annexation of lands, as Honorable said, is in violation of what do you call international law, if you ask me. But we have the, you know, United Nations, we have bodies that could have stepped in some of these issues. It's beginning to look like some of these bodies that could be counted on have been quite silent on the issue between the Palestinians and the Israelis. We hope that someday they will reach an amicable settlement and will live as brothers. But kudos to Socialist Forum of Ghana for issuing a statement in that nature.
And condemning the Israeli.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Thank you very much, Justice, for your submission on this very subject matter. Now let's talk about illegal mining, as locally it's called galamsey. I mean, it's been one issue that has been going on for some time now. I mean, it started off when there was a national dialogue looking at how best stakeholders can come together and, you know, prefer solutions in solving the issues with galamsey, and of course, clearing our water bodies and all that. And some, you know, I mean, conversations were held, and some solutions were professed and all that. Now, it's been in the news that the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana are extremely disappointed in government. And of course, what are they saying? They are saying that during the dialogue, burning of excavators and of course tank fans and pumping machines were not suggested. Now, how is it possible that there are some, you know, task force that have been deployed to, you know, galamsey sites to, as it were, burn excavators and their machines and all that? Now, the defense minister says he's not going to compromise on that situation as well. The lands and natural resources minister, Samuel Abujinapo, has also said that, yes, they are not going to compromise on the fight against galamsey. I've heard our very own Honorable Yusuf Hussaini here on Pan-African Television, Wednesday Palaver, also making a point and, of course, a statement clearly that persons found, you know, in activities of illegal mining should be arrested and apprehended, and of course, you know, arrested. Yes, so that has been the development with galamsey. Honorable Yusuf Hussaini, I start with you. What is your take on the issues of galamsey? Looking at how our water bodies are being destroyed, especially persons that operate on water bodies, and looking at how excavators are being burnt here and there. What is your thought about it?
So, my brother, colleague, Samuel Abu Jinapo has taken the fight to the illegal small-scale miners, and he's also intensified his building of consensus on how to go about fighting illegal small-scale mining. In holding the regional consultative dialogue in Ashanti region, he got the most powerful king in this country to address the gathering. I think that Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, must be commended for this effort. It was not a mean achievement to have the Otumfo Osei Tutu, who last week was celebrating his birthday and the 22nd year on the throne, to come address the gathering. And Otumfo Yuko Maumbo, powerful chiefs like Otumfo Osei Tutu, when they speak in support of the fight against illegal small-scale mining, will go a long way to dealing with this problem. I have no doubt in my mind that chiefs play or will play a significant role in this fight, in the sense that traditional ownership of lands is vested in chiefs, and they give the land out. Like Otumfo said, there was a chief who parceled land for galamseyers to work on. Otumfo did not mince words. He said, even in the room that they had gathered in, about 30% of them knew the people who were doing galamsey. Otumfo Thank you. You have spoken, and those who have ears will listen. But the fight against illegal small-scale mining must go beyond talk. Must be action, action-oriented. But the action too must be action founded on law. Galamsey is an illegal activity. So you are going to fight an illegal activity. You don't use illegal means in fighting an illegal activity. You don't do that. You don't do that. Now, why are we fighting Galamsey? Because of the devastating effects of their activities on the environment. The forest cover is being depleted, destroyed with careless abandon. Our water bodies are being polluted. The air around the Galamsey sites are polluted. Children and pregnant mothers are exposed to the hazardous chemicals and substances used in Galamsey. And so, clearly, we cannot allow this activity to continue. The Minerals and Mining Act, as amended, provides the legal framework for dealing with this. And I read Occupy Ghana's position on the fight against illegal. And they had cataloged as many as 7 steps that can be taken to deal with the small-scale mining. In the law, not by their own thinking. In the law. So the law has provided enough remedy if government wants to act. And that's why the greatest respect to the Minister for Defense. Impunity cannot be allowed to take root. In fact, it is impunity by the illegal small-scale miners that is compelling us to fight them. Yeah. It's the impunity because we have created a regime, the small-scale mining regime, that allows people who want to mine in the small-scale sector to go for permits at the Minerals Commission to be able to do that. Those who refuse, neglect, or fail to go for the licenses and are mining are doing so with impunity. And that's what we are fighting. Now, so it is not right for a minister to say that when the excavators are arrested, they should be banned. It's not right. It's not right because the law did not tell you to do that. The law said that when you take the excavators, you confiscate them pursuant to a court order. You send the excavators to the district assemblies where the illegal mining is taking place, so that they can use the excavators to do what? To remediate the land, to cover the pits that has been dug by the small-scale miners. Now you are burning them. If you burn them, and this is immediately you seize an excavator. You see, Minister Abu, with the greatest respect, and the environment minister said we should go to court. Another impunity and nonsense upon stilts. If you are doing the wrong thing and we are saying you say we go to court. Because when you burn, you are protecting the environment. So you don't know that when you burn an excavator, you are releasing fumes into the air, which fumes will compromise the quality of air. Have you ever heard of the acid rain? How did it come about? Was it not fumes that went into the air and rained down as acid on us? Acid rains, yeah. So why would you ban them? Why would you ban them? I've heard Kukubako say that under NDC they ban excavator. No, under NDC they never ban any excavator. And I'm prepared to challenge anybody. Nobody banned an excavator under NDC. Nobody. We gave clear instructions to take the excavators. We created holding centers for people to send the excavators, and at that time we couldn't confiscate them. So we asked the district chief executives and the district assemblies to charge for the excavators and use the money to remediate the soil. That's what we did. And so Shamfan, you are destroying the Shamfan. Go take them out of the water bodies. Find an appropriate means to destroy them. You are seizing other equipment.
Pumping machines.
Pumping machines. Yes, find a way. Don't burn them. Pumping machines can be used elsewhere. Yeah. Auction them out. Like, give them to assemblies. Auction them out. You have confiscated them. And then, or give them to assemblies for use. And every machine that is taken can be used for something. Okay? And so we should desist from burning those machines. However, if you want to burn those machines, the way to do them is to go to Parliament and amend the law, and allow you to burn the machines. Because the country is not for you. With greatest respect to the Minister for Defense, the country is not for you. The fact that you are in power doesn't mean that you answer for your actions. Even recently, when they seized excavators and distributed them amongst their party distance, somebody has gone to court, and the court has given a judgment debt of 5 million against the state for excavators that were seized, which could not be accounted for, which companies thought that the excavators had been confiscated or seized wrongly. 5 million judgment debt against the country. So you don't do such things. You don't act with impunity because you are in political office. Impunity is the reason why the International Court of Justice was established. Impunity is the reason why we have courts. Because you can't act with impunity. The fact that you have political power doesn't give you a license to do as you please. No. You must do. Why do we say this country is a country of rule of law? Why do we say so? If the law gives you the authority to do something, and the law also shows you how the things should be done, you don't only have a responsibility to obey the law, but you also have to obey and follow the processes through which the law said that thing can be done. If you do it any other way, then you are infringing the law.
Infringing against the Constitution.
The Constitution, the law. So for me, once again, congratulations, Sam Abu Jinapor.
Yes.
You are doing exceedingly well. I have said, and Otunfo has reiterated that you need support. Otunfo has said that the people who are engaging in Galamsey are known. Majority of them, or some of them, are your own party people. They will fight you, and so be prepared for that. But like I always say, you will need more than 100% support for your president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because he's giving you the task to perform. And I can see the zeal, passion, commitment on your part to do the work. You require support, you require our prayers, and then the support of the president. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, Inisa Fuseni. The Justice, now Inisa Fuseni, Honorable Inisa Fuseni has made a point that small-scale miners actually have a case now in being, disappointed in government for burning excavators and the Shamfans and other machines. What's your take on that as well?
Well, Ivan, the issue of the fight against Galamsey, I rather want to take it from this end. You recall that some time past, government came out to tell the good people of Ghana that they had won the fight against Galamsey.
I remember that clearly.
Very well. What has happened to that? Now the situation has worsened more than even at first. But I've been asking a simple question. How would burning of excavators or mining equipment by mining equipment, because it doesn't have a plural, mining equipment by these illegal miners stop the issue of Galamsey in this country? How? I've been trying to understand the brain behind burning of excavators, and unfortunately I'm not getting one, because the situation would not stop them from having the illegal mining done. Doesn't mean that if you burn somebody's excavator, the person cannot get another excavator to go and get, the illegal mining done. So how would that solve the problem? Granted that the excavators should be burnt, does that solve the issue of Galamsey in this country?
Very true.
Unfortunately, the approach is wrong. Apart from the fact that it's illegal to burn those, equipment. However, now, here is the case. There have been wide allegations that persons who are behind some of these illegal mining activities are persons in government.
Yeah.
So, what has government done to make sure that their own people who are doing this are stopped? That we've not heard anything about. It was in this country that the interministerial committee that was formed. Is the gentleman the chairman? Was he the chairman of the committee? Charles B. Seal.
Yeah.
No, he was the secretary.
The secretary, very well, was caught on tape. He was caught on tape accepting monies. He was even alleged to have counted the bribe to know if it was up to the amount that was given to him. What did they do about that situation as it stands now? At best, the gentleman resigned by himself. But is he out of government? He has once again been alleged that he is now at the Flagstaff House. So somebody has perpetrated a crime or a wrong somewhere. The person needs to be punished. But we have rewarded the person for committing the crime. And you want the same crime to end? How do we end it? Because you are not using anybody as an scapegoat to prevent other persons who would want to go and do same. Okay, let's put that aside. It was in this same country that some excavators were seized, and we are told that the excavators were about 500 or so. Did government account for those excavators? It was alleged that some of those excavators were in the possession of some government officials. You recall that there was a time Ghanaians were demanding for government to account for those excavators. Did they account for it? So now we have moved from seizing those equipment, sharing it amongst ourselves, to now burning the equipment. Unfortunately, this is a situation we have found ourselves as a country. And sometimes people are afraid to tell government that, look, the approach is wrong, you are not fighting it, you are tickling yourselves and laughing, thinking that you're doing something. Unfortunately, until government will be so committed in making sure that we end this menacing problem, in making sure that they fish out their own people who are part of this, situation, I don't think that the issue of Galamsey would end anytime soon. Let's even have the best minister ever for the sector, the best minister ever, and you have your people who are deeply involved, and you're unable to fish them out and make sure that they are prosecuted and used as an scapegoat. This situation will continue to live with us. We'll continue to live with it. Look, there were issues like, there was a time we had a tape, and in the local parlance, somebody was saying that party hiasika, the party hiasika issue. So, do we have to go and do Galamsey to, fund our party?
True.
We are not attending to all these issues, and we are thinking of ending Galamsey. How do we end it? So, let's go and even, stop all other persons who are engaged in Galamsey and allow our people or the persons we are in government with to continue and see if Galamsey will end. And see if Galamsey will end. Unfortunately, that is where we have found ourselves. And we're talking about, ending Galamsey, burning excavators and all of that. Unfortunately. Okay, all right. That's
right. So, viewers, we'll go for a quick commercial break. We'll return shortly. Do stay with us. Don't move a muscle.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
So welcome back from that quick commercial break. If you just joined in, this is still the newspaper review segment here on Pan-African Television. My name is Ivan Bant. I'm sitting in for the regular host, Kwame Owusu Danso. Now, Justice, you on the floor.
All right. So, as I was rightly saying, I mean, it's about each and every one of us would want to see our water bodies very clean.
Very clean.
We would want to see this menacing problem end. But we cannot end the menacing problem with this attitude. We have to fish out, and I'm very passionate about this. We have to fish out persons in government who are behind some of these, illegal mining sites and all of that.
That's true.
Unfortunately, we have to say it as it is. We have to fish them out, use them as an scapegoat to make sure that it deters other people from doing same. If we are unable to do so, and we'll be in the forest chasing, other people, burning excavators and all of that, I feel that yes, to some extent, some other persons will stop. But what about the people who are in government doing the same? What about the people who are in government, doing the illegal mining? Now, the issue of burning excavators. Go to some of the districts. They need just an excavator to maybe grade a road or something of that sort. They don't have it. They don't. But you have government having the opportunity to seize some of these equipment, which could have been given to the district assemblies to embark on some of their activities. Unfortunately, we are rather burning them. We are wasting, the machines. Who does that? Who does that? Ivan. So for me, it's a worrying situation. And one would have thought that, yes, we need to end it, which I believe that every single Ghanaian supports, this cause. But I'm sorry to say that the path we are churning would not end.
So in your estimation, the fight against Galamsey by government is just mere cosmetics?
Government is not committed in fighting the menacing problem. They are not committed. If you are committed, then your people who are in this activity should be arrested. They know them. I'm not sure government will say they don't have an idea of persons in government who are into Galamsey. They know them. Why are you not arresting them? Is it because party Hianska, and so at the end of the day they would have to go and do Galamsey to come and fund the party or finance the party? You understand? So if you're unable to arrest your people who are behind some of these Galamsey sites, and you are trying to, paint a picture as though you are fighting the problem, for me, I have every issues with it. You are not showing commitment. You are not showing that, yes, you are committed enough in fighting the situation. You understand? I can go on and on and on and on. Government officials who have been alleged to have been arrested, government officials who have been exposed of doing galamsey and all of that, who amongst those people has been prosecuted, jailed for doing galamsey? So government is not showing commitment, and I'm only calling on government to show enough commitment in ending, this issue. And the only way government can show commitment in making sure that we fight against this menacing problem is to make sure that their own people who are behind galamsey in this country are arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. Where are the excavators they seized some time ago? Where are the excavators? Oh no, tell me, where are the excavators they seized? You understand? Up to now, government is unable to account for the excavators they seized some time ago. And Honorable rightly mentioned that somebody took the issue to court. And Ghana, the state, I don't know if it is the state or it is the MPP party that would have to pay that 5 million. Is it 5 million or 5 billion?
$5 million.
$5 million. This is going to be an amount that the state would have to pay. But under normal circumstances, it is the MPP that has to pay that money. I'm saying they have to pay because, why? Somebody said on a tape that their party needs money. For that reason, galamsey should be done. They would have to, engage in this activity to make sure that the party is funded. So if excavators were seized, and we are not seeing the excavators today, maybe we can ask the New Patriotic Party. Oh no, if I'm not making sense, somebody should tell me. Maybe we can ask the New Patriotic Party. After all, we don't know the whereabouts of the excavators, which is not inuring to the benefit of the state in any way. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
That's your point.
So for me, government must show commitment in making sure that we end galamsey in this country. I'm sorry to say that government is not showing enough commitment to end the menacing problem. That's all.
Right. Thank you very much, Justice Appiah, for your submission. And we'll move to the next topic tabled for discussion. I want to start off with Honorable Inusa Fuseni. Honorable, let's talk about press freedom. So a few days we heard of the arrest of a City FM journalist, and of course apprehended by the national security, and it became quite a news. And surprisingly, I'm hearing the GGA president Afumoni making the point that he broke GGA code of ethics by filming the premises of national security. Honorable, expatiate more on this very topic for us.
For the Ghana Journalists Association, I think that they have sunk to a new low by issuing that statement. Because if your members of your association are engaged, have done something that is untoward, an investigation has not yet been conducted. Your member has been arrested. He will have to prepare his defense. The matter is still pending. Then you give him out. You give him out. You tell the prosecutor that we were right in arresting our member. He broke the rules. I don't understand. This is a new law. For money, I respect him, but it's a new law. I've never seen an association behave that way. They have a duty. Executive of the association have a duty towards members of the association. That's why they elected them into office in the first place. I don't know whether there was a general meeting of the association and they issued that statement, or the functional executive committee of the association sat down and issued that statement.
I think so.
Whatever happens, whatever be the case, it's a new law. I don't think that I will ever support the issuance of such statement. The matter was still unfolding.
Yeah.
And then you go and issue a statement and give out your member to be taken to a Sahindran because in your view you had broken the ethics. press freedom, why we all think that we must encourage press freedom in the society, is simply because press freedom is an indication of how democratic a society is. If the limitations placed on free expression, whether print or electronic, are so obnoxious, then that society cannot be said to be democratic. Now, why do we need press freedom? The press, who have rightly been called the fourth estate, will have to synchronize our views and publish those views. They have to point out if there is corruption,
checks and balances and all that,
corruption in the system. If government is handling a matter incompetently, they have to point that out. If government is being reckless and wasteful, they have to point that out. That the basis of pointing out where government is doing well and where government is failing becomes a platform for citizens' engagement. Why are we here? Why are we doing what we are doing? Why are we doing what we are doing? Why has Justice said they should first of all arrest those people? Why has he said that the 5 million judgment that should be paid by MPP? Because the thing is that handling the excavators that were seized was done incompetently in a corrupt manner. And so Ghana should not be fixed with the burden of paying. So clearly, and the basis why we are sitting here doing newspaper review is because there are newspapers. Also.
Yeah.
So if we limit the ability of journalists to produce newspapers, or to exercise their views in those newspapers, or to cover stories and add their commentary in newspapers, then why should we be here? There is no law or practice in journalism that says that a journalist must always be given an assignment to cover. There's no such practice. Sometimes, and I've read a lot of books about journalism, you chance on a story and your journalistic mind assesses the value of the story and then you take it up. Sometimes that story that you will take up can win you awards and recognition. They were not detailed. So when you go on a frolic of your own as a journalist and you discover a story which can make Pan-African TV famous, Pan-African TV should sack you from the Pan-African because they didn't detail you to go and cover that story. They didn't detail you. I mean, I just can't understand what they are talking about. Now, let's come to national security. Anybody who has visited the Blue Gates knows that even as MP, as minister, I was allowed to drive my car into the premises. But I either left my phone in the car, or if I went up to the reception, even as minister, my phone will be what? Taken from me. Even as minister. Unless I was given special leave by the National Security Coordinator. So I just can't imagine how a journalist can even have access to his phone within the confines of Blue Gate to record anything. I mean, maybe the story is still unfolding.
Perhaps.
Now, what is this story? Caleb went to, behind the national security is their communication office. Or communication installations. It's not office, installation. They have got their communication installation there. Caleb had visited a friend at that place. Then he saw cars, new cars, that had been parked for a long time, and weeds were overtaking them. His inquiries revealed that those cars were the vehicles that were brought in under the NDC by Maslock, which were parked at the Parliament House, but were subsequently removed from Parliament House by driving them to park them behind the National Security officers. And those cars were rotting away. Those cars were rotting away. Caleb, being a journalist, was concerned because his money, my money, and your money were part of the resources that were used to buy those cars. They were public resources. So if those cars were rotting away, he had a duty to know what government was doing about those cars. Because we have a history in this country where Mitsubishi Gallopers were brought in 2000, in the year 2000. And when Kufuor won power, he abandoned them. He said they were investigating them. No report has ever been produced on the Mitsubishi Gallopers. Recently, those Gallopers were sold to MPP activists and functionaries, including ministers and MPs, at giveaway prices. At Medina, they were parked at Medina, local government center, or local government institute. Have you been seeing them again? You used to see them. Are they there again?
I used to see them. But now
no, they are sold out. At giveaway prices to MPP functionaries. And was it what was going to happen? That those vehicles, having parked them for so long and were rotting away, we could no longer even get the money that we used to buy them by selling them out to people on auction. Caleb wanted to know, and that is not a security installation. The cars are a security installation. For the morning, are the cars a security installation? They're not a security installation. And what is a threat? I mean, how can the flaming of the cars be a threat to the security of the country? How? Tell me, I can't get it. And then, because Caleb had taken the picture of those cars and was following up on the story. He was told that the story was being was told that the cars had been dealt with. So I think national security got wind that Caleb had a picture of the cars, and that was the reason why they went to arrest him. For what crime? I don't know. Like Samson Ladi Ayinini says, and I support him 101%. A crime is a crime if it is defined in law and the penalty for it prescribed. A person can be arrested without warrant if the person is a fugitive, is in transit, is moving, or if an offense is committed in your presence. This man was not moving. He was in his offices at City FM. They went and arrested him without a warrant. They went fully armed. I don't know whether he was a threat to the society. These are the issues that we mentioned when we are talking about culture of silence. Culture of silence manifests itself in the form of fear and intimidation in people. If you are going to say something, you are afraid whether when you say it, they will come after you. So you don't say it. You fear. If you say it, they insult you. You are intimidated. So you don't want to say it again. He was given some dirty slaps.
Yes.
That was his punishment for publishing, for taking the pictures. Who authorized the police to give him those dirty slaps? We don't know. Who authorized national security to give him those dirty slaps? We don't know. Is it the punishment? Is it the sentence for taking pictures of a car prescribed by law? Is that what the law says? That when a journalist films cars which are not permitted,
he must be apprehended by national security
and given dirty slaps and kicked in their brocos? Is that a punishment? I mean, this impunity must stop. I still, in ending, now the Bank of Akufo-Addo, the president of the country, I have a graphic which I have kept as part of the records of things that you have said. In swearing in the former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufo, now the Bank of Akufo-Addo, you said to the whole country that you were intent on building a new civilization founded on the rule of law and respect for the fundamental liberties and freedoms of individuals in Ghana. Nana Akufo-Addo, is that your new civilization? I still have the graphic. Is that your new civilization? We are better than this as a country. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Inusa Fuseni, for your submission. Justice, let's hear from you.
Attack on journalists in this country. Ivan, let me first and foremost say that this is a very sad story of our colleagues Caleb Kuda and Zoe Abubedu of CTFM and CTTV. I'm a journalist, and if I have an opportunity to speak on this issue, I'd have to do it, passionately. Now, what happened, Ivan? When the issue first came up, when I heard that he was arrested, I thought that it was about, the video he took at the Independence Square when the police was actually dispatched to go and prevent the youth from protesting. If I say the youth, I'm talking about the Ghana country movement. It was only later that I was told that the issue went beyond that, and that he went to the National Security headquarters and was taking pictures of some vehicles that were parked over there, and he was arrested. In fact, he narrated his ordeal when he was arrested, and it was extremely sad once again. He talked about how he was slapped, how he was kicked, how he was manhandled, maltreated, and all of that at the National Security headquarters. Ivan, granted that what Caleb did was wrong. It was against, the law, and he was arrested by National Security. Why was he manhandled? Why should he be slapped? Why should he be kicked? It is becoming one too many in this country. The attitude of our security services and how they handle people, not just journalists. This is something that I think we must take a second look at and make sure that we find solutions to that. Now, if you have arrested somebody breaking the law, what happened to due process? Why? If you think that he did something wrong and he was arrested, he should have been, processed for court. Is that not the right thing to do?
Very true.
Why was he beaten? And if he tells you what he went through, yesterday he narrated the issue on one of their shows. He talked about the fact that at a point he had to say that he is a Fanti instead of an Ewe.
Yeah.
And now people are reading tribal meanings
into it.
But trust me, the gentleman, I don't think, will come alive for anything. And he explained why he had to, say that. But the truth is, if you are, you have arrested him. What has his tribe got to do with national security? So why was he asked where he comes from or his tribe or something like that? I mean, why did they want to know? You get the point I'm driving at, because I'm finding it extremely difficult to understand why national security, you have arrested them for taking pictures at an unauthorized place. That is the issue. And you're supposed to interrogate him and all of that on why he took the pictures and what he was taking the pictures for, and whether or not the gentleman is aware that that place is an unauthorized place for anybody to take pictures. That's the issue for me. So where comes in his tribe? To an extent that he had to change, you know, his tribe to save himself from more beatings and slaps. You see, and this goes a long way to talk about the fact that persons who are recruited into the national security are unqualified. It was in this same country, a national security operative, after the IRSO West Wuogon issue, appeared before a committee. Only to our surprise, he said he was given just 3 weeks training. And what was the training about? How to fire, you know, guns and all of that. So for me, let's also look at how we recruit people into our security services. Because under normal circumstances, I feel that if professionals were handling this gentleman, he could have been handled better. Now look at the way and manner they went to, you know, City FM / City TV. I'm sure you have watched, you know, the video.
Yeah.
They went there in what looks like a raid, just to, you know, invite a colleague of Caleb, whom the national security, you know, thought that Caleb sent the pictures he took to via WhatsApp. Because after they arrested Caleb, they went through his phone and realized that he sent the pictures to
Zoe.
His colleague Zoe. And so that was the more reason why they went to City FM / City TV to arrest Zoe, or to invite her. I don't know if they went there to arrest or to invite her. But do we need several national security operatives to go to City FM / City TV just to invite a colleague of Caleb? And you got to the place, you met Zoe, according to Bernard, on a sister station. She was telling you that, okay, I have to inform my boss about the situation. And they never wanted to even understand that in the first place. In any case, Caleb and Zoe, are they criminals? Who will be arrested? Or, you know, I'll call that an invite. Who will be arrested? Because Caleb was handcuffed, according to, you know, the narration. So who will be arrested in that manner, in a Rambo style manner? As if we are going for war. Unfortunately, I think that is where people are talking about the culture of silence rearing its heads in this country once again. You know Captain Smart?
Yeah.
Where is he now? Captain Smart had to be suspended from Angel FM because, according to management of Angel FM, he's been speaking against some government officials, including the president and that of the vice president. Are they beyond reproach? Are they beyond criticism? This gentleman, when he was at Adum FM, did the worst. At the time, he was inuring to the benefit of the New Patriotic Party, so they hailed him. Now, he turned the fire on them whilst in government, and you think that he had to be suspended. So they did everything possible to make sure that Captain Smart was suspended or has been suspended from Angel FM / Angel TV. Nobody has spoken on this matter. Our own colleague, Ahmed Swale, I don't want to, anyway. But the truth is that after this gentleman's pictures were shown on a live television, a state TV, and following that incident, the gentleman was murdered in a cold blood. Ivan, have you heard government made a statement on this particular matter? Unfortunately, no. And we think that these treatments that are meted out on journalists in this country are ones that are becoming too much. Manasseh Azori had to run for his life. Ivan, unfortunately, this is where we have found ourselves. And I mean, with regards to the statement made briefly, whilst stepping down, with regards to the statement made by the GJA president, I think that is quite unfortunate. Just as Honorable rightly mentioned, you don't go out there, making such statements, especially when the person belongs to the association and you're supposed to be the head the president of the association, if anything at all. Then this is an issue that probably maybe the gentleman would be processed for court or something and so we have to be very mindful of the statements we made. I mean, for me, that one is quite unfortunate for me. It scares some of us from joining the association because we feel that we are not protected. You are as best as somebody who is not part of any association at all, if you have president of the association making such statements on radio and television. That's all.
Right. Thank you very much, Justice, for your time. Well, let me take some few messages that have come in. I know we are just behind time. Just take 3 messages that have come in, and then we can wrap up with today's edition of the newspaper review. Now, this one says, "Good morning, Pan-African TV. I love the topic you just delved in concerning the recruitment of personnel into the military. It is so sad that a country over 60 years still embrace corruption. My question is the public service for some people or all of us Ghanaians? Because notice for advertising of vacancies for interesting people has stopped." Okay, I think you are commenting on the issue of police service being just any other person being allowed into the police service. This one says, "Power is like an army officer in uniform. The moment the uniform is hung up on the wall, nobody will salute you again. I always remember what my father said. He said, we should all be careful because power can deceive you." This is coming from James K. Saba. And this one says that, "Please, drastic times calls for drastic measures. I support the burning of the machines. If you know them, it would find." Okay, so you mean if you keep them, it will find itself back there. When the elephants were being exterminated, Southern Africa had to resort to public burning of multi-million-dollar ivories, and that was the only way That's the only way the illegal ivory trade was stopped. If they are not burnt, you create another level of corruption and corrupt officials. Hashtag burn them. This is coming from Salifu Amankwa. Okay, lastly, let me read one last message. This one says that, "Good morning, citizen. Burning of pump machines and earth movers is nonsense. These machines could be given to NADMO or the military engineering department." This is coming from Shortman Tadi. Right, I see a lot of messages come in, but unfortunately we cannot read all those messages. This is what time will permit us on the show. This is Good Morning Africa, the newspaper review. Thank you very much, Honorable Yunus Afuseni, for your time here. And thank you very much, my colleague Justice Apia, for your time. So this is what time will permit us. Good morning to you once again. And of course, happy celebration to our Muslims and brothers and sisters for your celebration. Do not switch off. Keep your dial here. This is Pan-African Television. Stay.